Hello, my friends. This is Andy over the Andy Falco Show. I forgot the name of my own show. Also known as Lemming. Last night I was called a lemming because apparently because I want to open up the country and go back to work, that somehow I'm a lemming of Donald Trump. I have no idea why that correlation was made, but apparently that's that's my new name. And I'm going to keep this up because I actually kind of like the deplorable. I was called a deplorable back in 2016 and since then. But now this is my new handle. I may have to see if the URL is available. Andy Lemming. All right. So I have, wow, the response to this show was stranger than I actually thought it was going to be. But I knew there would be people that I'd reach out to say, hey, you want to join me on the show? I knew there'd be people to say, no, well, I'm not sure. What are you going to talk about? Because, when I say stuff, people, yell at me and scream at me and call me names. And that is the strangest thing about the liberal people, the people that are liberals or claim to be Democrats, that kind of stuff, is that when they don't have an argument, the first thing they do is they call you a name. I mean, you are something. You're a baby killer. I've been called a baby killer, a Nazi, that I'm a horrible parent, that a lemming, and then the curse words, of course, a-hole, and all this other kind of stuff. That is usually their first response, as opposed to an opposing point. That isn't, a lie or something made up, right? That's the way they go. A funny thing, this morning when I woke up, I didn't know, and I still haven't seen where Nancy Pelosi called or told or said that President Trump is obesely, morbidly obese. Because I think that's what the thing was. But what I did is I woke up and I started looking at Twitter. And man, the one thing, the difference between Republicans and Democrats is Republicans are funny. The responses, we just like think, okay, cool. He's morbidly obese, which you're talking to a guy who has way more energy than most morbidly obese people that I know. Like he doesn't stop, and he barely sleeps, and he doesn't drink, and he doesn't take drugs, other than hydroxychloroquine, right? He takes that, which is a whole nother subject, which I'll get on to lately. And I'm going to get to the purpose of the show in just 1 second. But the day has been so crazy that because I want the state to open up, the country to open up, that it has to do with all this other BS, which is really, it's not. Now, I know it's part of it, but it isn't because I want this. It doesn't mean that I'm a horrible person and want people to die, or that I am Republican or Democrat. That has nothing to do with it. I simply think that this is really strange that we're shut down. That is the deed. And do we need to be? So then this is more of a question as to whether we should be shut down, and if you have any ideas of what the reasoning is, because I have, of course, my thoughts of why this is actually being shut down. The world, it is not because of COVID-19. All right, I'm just going to tell you that right now. And so the people that wanted to join but said they couldn't because they were afraid of what people might think of them or say about them is rampant, right? Rampant. Yeah. It is like, and also some people don't trust themselves to not really say how they feel. And I was going to put a disclaimer up that there may be some cussing on the show. I just want you to know right now that this is a warning, because I'm so passionate, much like some of my friends that are joining right now are so passionate about this, is that it makes me say things that I hope that won't offend somebody, and know that it's quite possible. Wow, the comments are coming like crazy. I can't keep up. April, Deborah, nice to have you on. David, nice to have you on. I appreciate this. And I just want to show you a few things to get you thinking, because if you're on the side of, no, we can't leave our houses because we might die, and if we leave and you're going to bring it back and you're going to kill me, if you're on that side, I want to show you that, it's possible that you may be overreacting and you may be listening to the wrong people. All right. I have listened to tons of doctors, right? And again, this is my opinion. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. nor have I ever claimed to be one, but I do listen to a lot of doctors. I do listen to a lot of scientists. I do read data, and I do some of my own investigation. Yesterday, I was like a madman, looking up like, why? What is going on? What is it that I don't wear a mask when I leave my house? I don't leave. I'm not. If I lived in LA, I would be arrested, right? But I don't, and I don't enter a store or one of these stores that I go to and wear a mask unless it's required to wear a mask. I know I'm one of those people that get looked at and get very like, how come you're not wearing that look? In their head, they're saying, how come you're not wearing a mask? What are you, some rebel? No, I don't want to wear a mask because I don't think that it's healthy necessarily wear a mask. And I want to show my, I want to do what the president did. And I'm going to talk about that too. And that I think I believe in something. And here, I'm going to show you that I believe in something. And I don't do it just because I might, I'm not trying to make people mad and angry at me and that kind of stuff. And I'm not trying to kill you by not wearing a mask either. All right, let me get to some of these comments really quick. I'm going to come back to some of the things I found yesterday in my research, that in reading and writing, and then doing some research using the Google machine to do some of the stuff. I'm going to share some of the stuff with you just to see. Again, this is just my research, and it's not leaning left or right or anything. And I'm not just a lemming for the president. None of those things. And for those who don't know, lemming, noun, a small, short-tailed, set rodent related the voice found in the Arctic tundra, a person who unthinkingly joins a mass movement, especially a headlong rush to destruction. Now, I was going to say I agree with the mass movement, but not the destruction. I think it's just the opposite myself. I would have joined you today if it wasn't working, my 8 to 5. But you're working. I love that. April saying hi to Deborah. David Everett, he's not in Havasu. Let me know he's not in Havasu, relaxing and enjoying the sun. Hello, my beautiful friend, April. I thought, for a second, I thought you were talking to me. Gosh darn it. Oh, man. Nancy Pelosi, ugh. She been in office for 100 years. Yeah. That's why there's so much. Yeah. I'm not going to get into that. Not going to happen. In the middle of helping clients get test kits, masked out, and swamped with I wanted Deborah to come on so badly, but she's too busy. Just wanted to show Andy some support. I appreciate that. You wanted to show the lemming some support. I appreciate that so much, Deborah. As I absolutely have to, which has been once my nail appointment. You went to the nail appointment. My hair, the future quarantine Andy videos that I've done with the long hair. I'm. That was no lie. I am quickly. Well, it's not getting that long, but I got these. It takes a lot more goo on my hair to keep it from sticking out like Bozo the Clown. No mask for me, unless it's. Thank you. I love this. All right, I'm going to get to the stuff. You must send me your info on that via DM. Get down. Oh, the claws. Where everyone is wearing their mask inside their living room. Because that's where people are catching it. They're catching it when they're inside. The people that have mostly died have caught it, and they aren't people that have gone out, right? All right. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. I got to get to some of the stuff. This is so cool. I know. I want to get my nails done too. Different situation in New York. Everywhere you go, you are required. I know. But I would probably get in trouble because of the requirement. But I do wear it in the stores that say you cannot enter unless you wear a mask. I'll wear it then, but it's kind of like hanging off my face and really not doing anything anyway. All right. This stuff is not about. I know it is not. Now, I want you first to understand that the first 14 days I was all in. I'm all in. Let's figure it out. Let's everybody go in, stay in the home, and while right. And I talked about this yesterday on my show, announcing this show, that I was all in the first 14 days because of the unknown. Shutting down travel from China and Europe and all for that stuff. Let's stop all that. It's kind of like shutting down let's shut down the borders until we can figure out a plan of having legal immigration come in here and vetting people to make sure that they're not terrorists, make sure they're not criminals, all that kind of stuff. It all makes sense. right? It's all common sense, but people go crazy. Oh, it's racist. You're putting children in cages, right? It's the same stupidity that there's nothing wrong with for 14 days or a period of time shutting all this stuff down. Let's figure it out. And then as the science begins to reveal itself and the models that they use that millions of people were going to die are suddenly like, well, those are no longer relevant. And everybody name calling and say, well, he said this and she said that, and blah, blah, all this BS that's going on today, back in whenever, that the action to take when we don't know something is to possibly shut things down for a short period of time to see, okay, where is this thing at? All right, what is it? What the blob, right? I love the blob when I was a kid. That the blob came down and started to eat people and go through the cities. It was one of my favorite movies. And you got, okay, how do we deal with this? Like, well, let's everybody go inside while we'll try to figure it out. And then you realize, well, why are we quarantining the healthy? And why are we putting sick people into nursing homes with people that potentially will die? Why are you doing that? Right? Why are you closing down the schools when there's no evidence now, especially, that shows that kids are being adversely affected? Of course, there's a couple that get it. That's just the way life is, because there's kids that are obese, that have diabetes, that have other underlying illnesses, that even the flu would kill them. Even, some other a very bad cold would kill them. So you keep those kids out of the school. Those are the ones you keep out of the school. All right, not my healthy kids, which are all healthy. I was told that you want your children to die no, I don't want my children to die. I want my children to be educated, and we may die taking them to school. We're more likely to die from a traffic accident on the way to school than they are going to die of COVID-19. All right. In California, these fantastic doctors in Northern California who came out and said, listen, this is our experience. We're going to share our experience, kind of like what I'm trying to do right now is I'm sharing my experience. They wanted to share their experience, which was a very valid experience in Bakersfield. That wasn't Northern California. It was Bakersfield, right? I think it was Bakersfield. I keep wanting to say Northern California. Anyway, or was it Fresno? Don't know. But these two doctors came on because they kept getting censored. They kept pulling down their YouTube video because they wanted to share their experience. Hey, listen, why are we doing this? And the true data, which they shared also of 0.008% chance of dying of COVID-19 in the state of California. We don't shut our state down for things that are much greater at killing us. Let me, for instance, I'm going to give you a stat here. And where is it? I have brought all these things up and now they're out of order. What did I do? Frick-a-frack. Hold on. I'm going to bring it up. I want to get the numbers right. It's something like 3,000. Hold on. I'm going to find it. Here we go. All right. I got to bring this back. I wonder why I pulled that down. So now I got to find the stat because it's further down. I'm going to share this link in the comments so you guys can take a look at it too. But in the world, hold on, where is that stat? Oh, fudge. I hate it when I do this because I had it all pulled up and somehow for some reason I deleted it or moved that thing. Oh, mother of pearl. Hold on. Farfignugan. Where is the information? Shoot. Damn it. I'm going to have to come back to it. Oh, there it is. Every year, roughly 1.3 million people die in car accidents worldwide. 1.3 million people die in car accidents worldwide, an average of 3,287 deaths per day. 3,287 deaths per day due to traffic accidents. So you got 0.008 people that may die, right? But if we stop putting sick people in nursing homes, the 1/3 to 1/2 of the deaths are people in nursing homes, as reported by the CDC and other people, right? That we need to protect them. I don't need protection, right? I have my own protection. I found some ammo the other day when I was cleaning my house. I thought I was down to a box of ammo, and I have way more. I can protect myself. I can choose to wear a mask if I thought that it was going to protect me. I can choose to I can choose not to leave my house if I think that I'm going to die, right? But I choose to get in a car every day, just about, and still do. I choose to get in a car and drive to work. I choose to get in a car and go to the hospital or the doctors to look at something that may be going on, to take a blood test, to get my blood pressure checked. I choose to get in a car knowing that 3,287 deaths a day are caused by the decision to get into a car. Right, I can make that decision. We have risk factors with everything. We take a risk leaving our freaking house. We take a risk taking a shower because people slip and fall and die in the shower. But you're going to tell me, somebody who's being paid, right? All the people that are making money right now and getting paid, getting a check every week or every 2 weeks or once a month, whatever it is you're getting paid, are telling people that aren't getting paid that you can't go to work. How about we put a hold on all the politicians' paychecks until they work this thing out and figure it out? If we did that, we'd all be back to work tomorrow, right? If you stop the paychecks to anybody working in the media, anybody working in government, and stop the paychecks, you'd be like Trump working without a paycheck every day, 24 hours a day, hardly ever sleeping and tweeting and doing all these things, right? It would be over. It would be over. If you didn't allow Nancy Pelosi to have any more ice cream shipped to her house, it would be over. Gosh darn it. Am I yelling? I feel like I'm yelling. All right. So that was the one on the car accidents. And I probably should have shared my screen, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in the comments and you can look at it. It's in there. You just got to search for it and you can see all this information. And it's only to bring up the issue in regard to taking risk, right? That everyone takes a risk. Doing something, we're going to take a risk. I'm probably going to get COVID-19 at some point. The chances of me dying are very slim, but I'm also probably going to get the flu. I'm probably going to get a cold. I'm probably going to get something else that my silly kids bring to me because they're playing with kids that are sick and they bring it home to me, right? And then there's a chance that I may die of that. I have cancer, for God's sake, right? I may die of my cancer. I may die of a heart attack because I have been known to have high blood pressure for a long period of time. And there's a good chance right now in the show I'm going to die from a heart attack because I'm so freaking excited. But I'm taking the risk coming to you live here. All right. Let's talk about something else that happens to be a very important issue. And this is, and I'm going to share my screen here. What's interesting to me when I look this up is this is current, right? This is data that is showing up right now, and this is the amount of new cases by day of COVID-19. If you look at that, and I'm going to actually go to the page so I can kind of look at some of the information here. This is really what's happening. I'm not making this stuff up, right? So back on April 5th, at our highest peak, 26,000 people were getting diagnosed with COVID-19, supposedly. And I'm going to talk about why I say supposedly later on. But if I remember, 26,000 people back on April 6th. We have never been back up at that peak. We've never been back up to that peak. As much as you're going to hear the media, more people are testing positive COVID, more people are dying, no, that is not true. 43,000 cases in the United States. This is just the United States. At our peak was April 6th, right? When even testing was not as rampant as it is now. The next time that we had a peak was on April 23rd, only a few days after, 37,000 people got COVID-19. We are going down. Listen to me. We are going down and more people are leaving their house, right? These were at the peak of the quarantine these days right here. We were freshly in quarantine and we were staying home. We were wearing masks, probably not wearing masks. We were doing a whole lot of other things, right? We were more likely to stay home during these periods of time than we are now. More people are leaving their homes because they just can't stand it, number one, and they're doing more stuff that people are being a little bit more free, and it's going down, right? On this date here, which is April 30th, we only had 31,000. On this date here, we have 31,000, and there's a little bit of a rise. Now, right here, 37,300. 37,900. Okay, so why? So you hear people all the time. I'm gonna come back to my screen for a second. You're hearing all these people all the time, but the people getting sick are going up. We just had a peak the other day when Florida opened up, when Texas opened up. Suddenly there's more people. You're gonna tell me on the day that decided to open up, on that same day, everybody went out and got tested and it went up? That is not what happened, right? You have the media telling you yesterday when Florida decided to open up, the number of people that got sick went up. Do you really think, media people, that on the day that Texas and Florida, that everybody rushed out and got tested and that was the reason? No. The reason it's going up is because of this. Let me share this with you. The reason things are going up and not up enough anyway, it's because testing is going up. Look at this. The testing, this is the testing, rolling 3-day average of tests. I know you probably can't see it. I can't because it's being blocked by a graphic that's on my screen. But that is the number of tests that is going up. So it only makes sense if you bother thinking about common sense, if you bother about thinking about common sense, that the reason the number of people that is showing to be infected with COVID-19 is because the testing is going up, not because people are going out. And it's gone up by millions since that April date, right? Since April date when we had the peak, right? Testing was less when we had the peak, but testing, now that we have a peak, of course we're going to have more cases that show that people have it, supposedly, because testing is going up. Okay, so why am I saying supposedly over and over again? It's because what we're hearing and what I'm learning is that there may be a whole bunch of false positives. And again, I've not been able to prove this. I see articles that disprove this, and I've seen even on the CDC website where it says that was it PSR? What is the term? When you get tested, PCR. False positive PCR results linked to administration of seasonal flu vaccine. That when you're tested, you see positive PCR. Now, and I'm really not sure what PCR is, but I've heard a number of doctors talk about it. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but there are people saying that it's possible that you can get a false positive COVID-19 if you've had a certain shot. What was the name of that shot? It is called hold on, I Googled it. Trivalent flu vaccine. Trivalent flu vaccine. It is possible. Again, I'm seeing articles that say that it's not true, too. But I hear other doctors saying that they think that it is true that you can get a false positive if you have taken that Trivalent flu vaccine of COVID-19. You got other things, just naturally you have false positives and quite frankly, false negatives. So that number could be high because of a lot of different reasons. The deaths also is, I'm hearing from doctors, I've interviewed doctors that say, yes, when somebody dies of cancer, heart failure, just of old age, right? And they also have COVID-19, it's going down as a COVID-19 death. All right. I think that's totally BS that you're doing that because it's causing more fear, right? I think the numbers of deaths can even come further down if you were to say, hey, listen, this person died. This person was riddled with cancer. I don't mean to be laughing that the person's riddled with cancer, but it's just kind of like stupid that when you have somebody that's obviously dead because their body is riddled with cancer and they had COVID-19, that it's not a COVID-19. It wasn't the COVID-19 that killed them, right? It was the cancer that killed them. If they were totally healthy and didn't have cancer, the likelihood of them dying was probably nil. All right. If they did not have the underlying issues, then it wasn't the COVID-19 that killed them. It was the illness, the underlying illness that killed them, not the COVID-19. It is really, I think, a poor use of data. I've been involved in laboratory, not involved in laboratory testing. I may have, I don't know, but I've been involved in studies, right? Clinical studies, 5-year studies of the use of police dogs' nose to detect certain things, not police dogs, but dogs to detect certain things, and receive grants from the U.S. government to do this. I work very closely with UC Davis and that kind of stuff. And what you probably already know and don't need to be told is that every study can be, if you have a specific outcome that you want, you can skew things, steer things so that you get the outcome that you want, right? Every one of those. And so you need to have peer-reviewed studies of people that are not necessarily hoping for a certain end result. But when you are a liberal media hack, when you are a Democrat or a Republican, you have, of course, a tendency to see things in a way that will bolster your point, right? But when you look at things that I just showed you, when you see that the number of people that are getting COVID-19 is going down, it could be because of summer, because the temperatures are right. It could be all of those things. And yet testing is going up. Right? More people being tested, but the people being sick is going down. When you see those things intersect, you gotta say, why the hell are we still in this thing? Knowing that people aren't staying home. I can tell you, I just went out to the store. The store was full. Right. I just went to the beach. The beach is full. And yet the numbers of people getting ill is not going up with more testing. We're doing more testing showing that all the people that are leaving right now are not getting sick with COVID-19, right? That's the common sense, but you can skew if you go to these things and you go to the way you and I when I look at things, I go, okay, who is giving you this, right? The cigarette company, wants to show that you're not dying from cigarettes. They can, say, well, it's not as bad as you think because we have done our own study to show you that it's not as bad as you think. But then you have another study that says, no, are you dumb? Here, I'm going to show you what a lung looks like when they smoke. This is what a lung looks like when they smoke. Oh, well, I can't combat that because that's common sense. You can see it with your own freaking eyes. Okay. Thank you, Debbie. Deborah. I'm sorry. I got to call you by your stage name, Deborah. The illness killed them. Knit COVID-19. Right. And not COVID-19. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to point that out. Oh, my Lord. Come on, people. Get it together. Yeah, it's disgusting. And hospitals get 5 times more funds. Yes, I had that on my notes. I didn't bring it up. Thank you, Deborah, for being so smart. Goes down as C-19. Yes, the reason the hospital administrators, right, the people that manage. If you watch Grey's Anatomy, there's a person that oversees, the budget, the employees, all the stuff. Right, you have the director who may or may not necessarily be a medical doctor making decisions, and then tells down, hey, okay, doctors, what we need if we're going to make it through this, as the hospitals now are empty, right? As doctors are being furloughed and health practitioners of all sorts are being laid off and furloughed, because there's nobody in there to taking care. The hospitals are empty. The beds of the floating hospitals went virtually empty because of all of that. But how are we going to make money? Okay, we have the possibility we could, we can get some of this money that's going to be handed out if we have more COVID-19 sick people, and then we have a higher death rate, right? When we have that, then we can say, hey, we need more money, and then that is really the thing that is going on. And if you don't think that's happening, then you're stupid, right? And I'm sorry to call some of you stupid because I know there's people that out there that don't believe it. They're going to come on and call me a lemming and call me horrible names. I know that, but that it really is. You got to have common sense, folks. I was just talking to somebody just minutes ago and talking about that. We were talking about vaccines and all the things that have to do with the idea of whether you should be vaccinated. Is it safe to get vaccinated? Babies. Why are we vaccinating babies when their immune system is being developed and we're falsely steering their immune system in a direction that it doesn't need to be done? The body is an amazing thing. God created an amazing thing called the human body with all of our systems that when we're born may or may not be in homeostasis, but they're quickly trying to get into homeostasis because they're now breathing the air, this horrible air that we breathe every day. Nobody seems to be worried necessarily about that, right? That the air can be killing us. Nothing's about all that stuff. But we need the children. We need the babies to develop naturally their immune system. And again, I may be murdered because I just was talking to somebody that said, the people that talk about, how bad vaccines are getting murdered. So you may not want to talk about that. But I'm really interested, right? When I chose not to have any of my younger 4 children vaccinated, it was based on the thought that and the common sense that, this makes sense. I don't know why, but I'm hearing people talking about how bad vaccines are. But do I really need to give my newborn child, who's so susceptible to so many things, some of these horrible things that I've heard are in some of the vaccines, right? Do we need to do that today, right? Is it really that dangerous for me to take that baby, put it in a car, drive it home? Is there what can they catch that needs the other stuff that could potentially, whether or not it causes autism? I don't know. I don't know. I'm telling you, I don't know. But I can tell you that there's enough people grumbling about it and talking about it that it could be an issue, right? And so do I need to take that chance? Again, risk. Decisions to take a risk, risk management, all this stuff. Going into a building for an armed suspect, always, you get together with your SWAT team member. You say, okay, how can we do this so that we don't die, right? But at some point, we got to go in. We're not going to stand outside like they did in Florida, right? And not go, I'm not going in because there's somebody shooting. No, you got to go in because somebody's shooting, right? When you're a cop, you got to go in because somebody's shooting. But you do it with taking into considering risk management, managing the risks, going there with your equipment on, going in there with a plan, going in there because it is the necessary thing to do. It is the right thing to do to save lives, but it's called risk management. Right. Same thing with vaccines for my children. Okay. I don't think that I need to do that as them as a baby, because I know that I love this little being that's only been on this planet now, or at least breathing in the air, for a couple minutes. But do I need to now stick them with shit that, sorry, I told you that this, do I need to stick them with shit that I don't really understand? I'm the parent. I can make that decision. Right. And so it kind of goes in line with this thing. It's a risk management. Right. If you're one of the people that think, I got to wear a mask, then wear a mask when you go outside. Then sit 6 feet from people that you haven't been around in a very long time. All this stuff is, I'm an adult. I'm a grown freaking adult. And I can decide if I want to be broke and never work again and not do that, I can decide to do that on my own. I don't need Nancy Pelosi or any of these other dimwits to tell me that I can't go outside while you're getting a paycheck, staying in your home, and you're not going and doing your job. Right? You're not doing your job, and you're staying at home, eating your freaking ice cream in your multi-million-dollar home, getting paid to tell me to stay home. You did, mother. I love this show so far. Yep, it's shit. You're right. Thanks. Thank you, Deborah. Man, I love you guys. Keep the shit out of them. Right? I didn't need to. They're perfectly fine. They're some of the healthiest kids that they get sick and they're over it. Like they get a cold and they're done. They're over it. And they didn't get all those shots when they were a baby. They did not get any of those shots. Right. Only thing I did, I put that vitamin in their eyes. Right. Those drops. We did that. Got it. I'm I'm all fired up. My eyes are watering. I'm not crying, but my eyes are watering. I was kind of a little bit nauseous. I ate a banana on an empty stomach, which sometimes makes me a little bit nauseous. I don't know why I did that today. But I almost thought, man, I have to cancel the show because I may throw up on camera. But the excitement has gotten me all better. All right, let me see what this has to say. April always has great stuff. I do believe that my son was born with autism. Because we saw early signs in infancy. But I also believe that he had vaccine injury that rendered him completely nonverbal, and he's still nonverbal. I love April. I love that you share and talk about your son and share the information and have a healthy understanding, right? This is healthy. Talking about, I think you already had it, but there's some things that probably made it a little bit worse, and just talking about it. Where is that one coming from? There we go. Anyone getting any type of income, paycheck, staying at home, STFU, shut the, I've been reading so much stuff that has acronyms, right? Everything has acronyms all the time. If you talk about military or government or, law enforcement, there's always acronyms. And okay. Or donate to a fund for small business owners who deem non-essential. Right. All right. I had one other thing I think that I wanted to share. Oh, this article. So I have a great article. I'm gonna post this, and I rarely say any article in the New York Post is actually good, but this has to do with why American life went on as normal during the killer pandemic of 1969. Did you know that we had another, and it was called the Hong Kong flu, right? I know it's racist, but it was called the Hong Kong flu. And I'm going to continue to call it the Hong Kong flu, just as this is the China virus or the Wuhan, whatever that place was that did that. But the H3N2 or the Hong Kong flu, as it was more popularly known, was an influenza strain that the New York Times described as one of the worst in the nation's history. The first case of H3N2, which evolved from the H2N2 influenza strain that caused the 1957 pandemic, was reported in mid 1968 in Hong Kong. I lost my place. By September, it had infected Marines returning to the United States from Vietnam War. By mid-December, the Hong Kong flu had arrived in all 50 states. But schools were not shut down nationwide, other than a few dozen because of too many sick teachers. Face masks weren't required or even common. Though Woodstock was not held during the peak months of H3N2 pandemic, the first wave ended by March 1969, and it didn't flare up again until November of that year. The festival went on ahead when the virus was still active and had no known cure. Why do I say that in that way? Is because Los Angeles Mayor Dimwit says that he's not opening Los Angeles. He said it. I'm not sure if he still feels that way. He's not opening Los Angeles until there's a cure. I say good riddance. I say good. Do not open Los Angeles. Do not open New York. Do not open Chicago until there's a cure. I am all for that. But the rest of us, we are going back to work. And we're going to the beach. We're going to the river. We're going to Las Vegas. I'm going to gamble my ass off, and I don't gamble. I'm going to do all the things that I want to do. And you, New York and Chicago and Los Angeles, stay shut down. Please stay shut down, because we're going to go back to work. And we need to clean up those hellholes, by the way, those shitholes. And I said it. Yeah, that's right. I said it. It's not racist to say those places are shitholes. They're all shitholes. San Francisco, too, for God's sake, please stay shut down while your homeless craps in the streets. Did you know? Here's another common sense thing. I'm going to go back to this article in a minute. Actually, I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to put this article in the, wow, I'm getting a lot of comments, and I can't read them all. And I'm sure somebody, there's an article from the New York Post that just went in there. For some reason, Periscope. If you're watching on Periscope, I'm sorry, which is on Twitter. For some reason, these articles are not going out on Twitter. On the live broadcast on Twitter. They're going out on Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, but not on Twitter. So anyway, this is the comment, and this is where I want you to understand that the people that are representing you, Democrats and unfortunately Republicans, they're representatives in these areas are making stupid decisions because of a reason. I don't know what I think I know what the reason is. I think it's because anyway, they're making stupid decisions out of retaliation for someone that they hate. How about that? A retaliation for a group of people that they hate. That isn't based on logic, right? This isn't based on logic. You got a city, San Francisco, it used to be one of the most beautiful cities. On one of my first dates with one of my wives, I call her up and say, hey, listen, pack a couple things, a change of underwear. We're going on a date. This is when we first met. We're going on a date. I picked her up. We went to the airport, and she goes, wait a minute. You didn't tell me. I just made sure that she had the next day off. I said, you have tomorrow off? Yeah. So don't make any plans. I'm going to come pick you up. We're going to go on a date. And we flew to San Francisco on a date. It was one of the best dates I've ever been on. It was a fantastic date. It's one of the best memories I have in my entire life was that date to San Francisco. Because why? San Francisco was a beautiful place. It was fantastic. Everything we did, the dancing, the drinking, the eating chocolate, the sourdough, everything about San Francisco, the sushi, everything about it was fantastic. And I love going to San Francisco. They've turned it into a shithole. Why? Because they're stupid, because they're making decisions based on who they hate, not based on common sense and logic. You got to understand that much of these decisions of closing, I believe, all right, I'm going to say it. I wasn't going to say it, but I say that many of the decisions that are being made are because of who they hate. Not because they love the country, not because they love you as a voter. They're making decisions based on who they hate. They could care less of that it's impacting you. They don't care, right? They don't care that people are losing their lives because they're committing suicide because of the damage that you're doing to these people's lives, because they can't pay their bills, because they are in trouble, because you put them in a place where they can't be all the time, which is in their home with their thoughts. There's many people that can't be left alone in their home with their thoughts. You're killing them. All right. I don't know how else to say it. Right. But you're doing it because the people that are making these stupid decisions are doing it because of who you hate. And it's killing people. All right. I'm getting emotional and angry all at the same time. And I was going to try not to do that, but it's pissing me off. All right. So let's look at San Francisco. Right. They have a homeless problem that they've created. It's like Los Angeles. They've created the homeless problem, because they're giving away things that people are sick, lame, and lazy. No, you need to take care of the sick, right? You need to take care of the lame, but you cannot pander to the lazy. You cannot give lazy people things to make them more lazy. You can't. This is what's happening with giving people more money than what they make, right? I know people that have told me that they hope this thing lasts for a long time because they're making more money being unemployed than they were by being employed. These are lazy people that would prefer not to do anything and want to make money from being lazy and not make money from doing work. This is the truth. I don't care how you look at it or who you are. I don't care what you call me. I'm telling you that homeless people that are lazy, not the sick and the lame, because the sick and the lame need to be taken care of, but you have a large number of lazy mother effers that are homeless because they're lazy. Right. And they will like being homeless because they're lazy. They like the free shit that you're giving them. And San Francisco just recently said, hey, listen, we're going to give you a hotel room. We are going to give you alcohol. We are going to give you narcotics. We're going to give you the tools to be able to take those narcotics for free. San Francisco said this. You can look it up. Right. You can give them, and they're shocked now that their homeless problem problem, the thing they created, is up 300%. When I told the San Francisco people, when it came out that, hey, we're gonna vote this in, where we're gonna give them drugs and alcohol and a place to stay, we're gonna give it away for free to homeless people, right? And I said, you thought you had a problem before, the problem is going to increase. And the problem has increased 300-fold. And I'm so sorry. I can see that there's tons of comments coming in and I can't keep up. And there's probably some really good. I'm going to go through them and see all the fabulous things people are saying. And I don't want you just to agree with me. I want you to give me your point of view. If you disagree with me, I want to see that too. All right. But that decision, do you not see that? Right? The same people that made that decision are making the decision that we cannot leave our homes. We're going to let go criminals because they're doing that too. We have a new law that we're releasing criminals, right? We're letting criminals out of quarantine and confinement, but we're going to keep healthy people that want to work in confinement. Just think about, I'm not making anything up. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This isn't me making shit up just to get you angry, but it just really, for all of you, for God's sake, listen to the lack of common sense when you just think, okay, we're going to release dangerous criminals, not just petty thieves, right? They're releasing rapists. We've seen it. We've seen articles that they've released a couple of rapists that went back to raping as soon as they got out. You got a guy that got arrested 3 times in one day for the crimes that he was in jail for, and he didn't go back to jail. He got arrested 3 times in one day, right? So let's go back to this. So they want to give free shit away to homeless people. They want to give free money to illegal aliens, not legal aliens, illegal aliens, right? I know that's racist. I know. Lay it on. All right. Illegal aliens, right? They want to take care of those people first. They also want to release criminals who have been convicted of a crime. Some of them may be innocent. You can go ahead and say, you love jails and putting people in prison. No, I did love putting people in prison. But guilty people, right? You're going to let guilty, dangerous felons and misdemeanants out of jail and our prisons, but you're going to order legal U.S. voting citizens to not be free. Shut the frickin' front door. Frickin' idiot. Sorry, I said it. I said the bad word. Why not have the folks in jail? Right. Wow. Oh, I'm so sorry. Don't mean to be very bad. I really want, and again, the Andy Falco show, which I just renamed my Facebook Live TV show to the Andy Falco show, is because I want to speak my, and again, and this isn't because some of the people that I asked to be on here that chose not to be on here are commenting, and I don't want to point them out, but so many people are afraid to speak their mind and to say this stuff. But I have to. I can't not say this stuff. I've let a few things fly here and there, but I said, listen, this is so stupid that if I don't turn California red, I'll be highly disappointed. but I want to do it with pointing out common sense and just show you what the dangers are. Right? You got, if we were to now look at all the states that are saying, so all the states that are saying we're going broke, we don't have enough money to pay our policemen and firemen, and we can't pay our politicians. God forbid that we can't pay our politicians. All the states that are crying, did you know that there's money available for them to get, but they don't want to take the money because it's a loan that they have to pay back? Do you know that? That was just talked about in Congress. That you got the California, New York, Illinois, New Jersey, all these. We can't open up. People are going to die, but we also need money. Please give us money. Our economy is dying, but we don't want you to go out and create economy, right? Our economy is dying. Please, we need money, but you can't go out and work, right? Those same people are saying, we need money. We need free money. We want money that we don't have to pay back. Please give us free money. They're just like their freaking constituents who are much happier being on unemployment than they are by being employed, right? The same people, but they're also the same people that are millionaires who have gotten rich somehow being a civil servant. Somehow these civil servants who've been in there forever are crazy rich. How did that happen on a civil servant's paycheck? I don't know. But the same people are saying, but we need money, but we don't want to have to pay it back. Give me money. Give me billions of dollars, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, but we don't want the money that we have to pay back. We want the money that we get for free, right? So that we can spend it. Do you know that there was a study, and I haven't been able to find the study, but I've heard about it. I've heard people talk about it, that you can give people millions of dollars, give a number of millions of, take 100 people, give them $1 million each, right? Some of the people are broke when you give them $1 million. Some people are living fairly comfortably, and some people are doing really well, right? They take investments and they buy houses and they create businesses and they buy and sell business. And you have, so let's say that you have, a third of them are broke, a third of them are, just in the middle. And then you got a third that are incredibly rich. In the end of a year, after you give those people $1 million of something, it may be a year, maybe 2 years. At the end of the year or 2 years, the time, that you set up for this test, the people that were broke are broke. Right, the $1 million they don't have. The people that are in the middle will be in the middle, right? They've taken some of that $1 million, they've saved it, they've taken some of the other $1 million, and they've done other stuff. They've traveled, they've had a really good time, and that kind of stuff. But yet they're still in the middle. They don't have $1 million, but they're also not broke, right? The people that are successfully taking money on a regular basis and reinvesting it and buying stuff are now even more rich. And so it's the same that you can't give a blue state money because they're still going to be broke at the end. It's not going to change anything. They're going to uselessly use that money to do stupid stuff like give away drugs and alcohol to homeless people and create housing for homeless people that they don't use anyway because they're sick, lame, and lazy, right? And they're still going to be broke. They're going to pay for trains that never go anywhere and never get built. Millions of dollars in California is spent on this train to nowhere that is never going to be built, and yet they still spent the millions of dollars and billions of dollars that they took from other funds that were meant for schools and meant for infrastructure, right? Instead of fixing our infrastructure, instead of assisting our school system, they spend it on a train that's gone nowhere, right? They have tunnels dug, they have bridges built, they have a bunch of stuff, but there's no train. So I laugh. I laugh at the congressman who's asking the questions of the feds. How many people do need to die by these decisions of opening up the country? No more people are going to die. No less people are going to die because we open up the country. Quite honestly, again, I'm not a scientist nor a doctor, but based on what I see, the common sense that I see, it's not going to happen. And then by standing up there, he didn't care what answer was given. He didn't care. He just wanted to be the guy up there and said, people are going to die. People are going to die. And this show's going on way longer than, again, I said it was going to be very short. All right. So let's talk about, I just want a couple things. So these are important things to understand. Fear causes more illness than just about anything else, right? It causes depression. It causes all kinds of gastrointestinal problems. It causes, skin rashes and that kind of stuff. So the fear that is being fed to you by the media, I have the ability as being a former police officer of 21 years to see dead bodies, to see horrific things, to see people shoot themselves as I'm talking to them, which happened on 2 occasions, to see these things, babies dying in cars that are on fire. I've seen those things, but I have mostly the ability to compartmentalize that and understand that I cannot take on that burden. Now, have I been successful doing it? No, I have PTSD. I take CBD. I do a bunch of stuff. I had a discussion about CBD I wanted to bring in, and I probably will not have time to do that. But it doesn't cause me, like seeing the horrible car accidents, seeing the horrible things, it doesn't cause me so much fear that I don't live my life. But it does, but internalizing it does cause problems. I'm telling you, I have high blood pressure. I was having sleepless nights. I was pre-diabetic. I had a whole bunch of issues that I think are directly a result of some of the things that I've been a party of and been involved in that has caused illness. We know that, right? The brain is a powerful thing. The things you fear, the things that have occurred, the concussions you may, all that stuff in the brain cause your whole body to follow, to deteriorate, to fall apart, to cause all these other things. And the fear that's being created by the media, they don't care. The fear that's being created by the Democratic leadership in many cases, and I would say there's probably some Republicans too, that fear is the thing that's going to kill us. The being at home and not being able to go outside because we're too afraid is going to kill us. right? We need to open up the country. I don't know why necessarily. I have my ideas why you're doing this. I already talked about trivalent deaths are less than the deaths are less than the seasonal flu. I got so many notes. Gosh darn it! For Pete's sake. I didn't even read all that article I wanted to read, but read the article. It's a good one. It'll anger you, right? I didn't mean to anger a bunch of people. Let me. I'm going through my notes. There were some good things on here. I just wanted to talk about the hydroxychloroquine thing and the fact that Trump said that he's taking it right now, which I love. All right, I love that. Right. But if you're on the other side, remember I talked about that if you want to skew something so that it gives the appearance that it's a bad thing, you can do that, or you can skew something so that it gives you the appearance of a good thing. In many cases, I skew things for positive. Right. My glass is always half full, always, no matter what. I have not got a stimulus check. My PPP loan has not been approved. I have just crickets, right? Nothing's happening. I have not worked for 3 months. There's a lot of bad things going on. But as you can see, I'm mostly positive. I love my kids. I play with my kids. My daughter and I built a table the other day in my garage that looks fantastic. It's beautiful. She did a great job. I just kind of cut and kind of gave her some advice along the way. I am in a horrible situation right now. There's a very good chance that I could lose my house. It's leaning more towards the fact that I'm probably going to lose my house because I'm getting nothing right now, right? From the government and nothing. It's more a Wells Fargo's problem than it is because I bank with Wells Fargo and I'm trying to get Wells Fargo. Well, Wells Fargo is one of the worst. One of the things I'm going to do once this is over, I'm going to change banks. I've been with Wells Fargo since I was a teenager, right? But it's time to move, and I'm that's one thing that I've done. I've gotten rid of so many things, right? I fired my gardener. I fired my pool person. Although I just hired a new gardener, so that's a lie. I fired my housekeeper, so I'm now a housekeeper. I'm a pool guy, and sometimes gardener, a garden guy, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But it's kind of freeing, right? So I've freed up about $1,000 that I was paying a month on all these services that I find that I really don't need. It's convenient, right? It's first world problems, right? But you don't see me over here necessarily crying about my situation. My situation is horrid and bad, but I always know that because I'm a hard worker and I choose to work and not get I've not filed for unemployment, and I'm probably not going to unless it really starts to impact some other things, right? My kids. Everything has to do with my kids. I can sleep on a couch at somebody's house if I have any friends after this broadcast. I can. There's always something to fall back on. But one thing I always know is I'm always going to work hard, and I'm always going to find a way to generate income. I always have, right? So I've always had that thing. So my cup is always half full, or my glass is always half full, whatever the saying is, cup or glass, who really cares? It's always half full. And so there's always some positivity. And now I have no idea what I was talking about, but that's the way you stay alive, right? But I'm not going to lay down and die. I'm not going to lay down and allow a bunch of people that are working and getting paid to tell a bunch of people that aren't getting paid what to do. All right. I'm sweating. I'm so fired up. Oh, I was going to talk about CBD. Oh, the hydroxychloroquine. That's what it was. All right. I don't know if anybody was trying to remind me of what it was, but hydroxychloroquine. And that everybody's in an uproar. It is. I find it hilarious that when he said it, you could hear like the air go out of the room, right? In the press conference. What? You're taking that deadly pharmaceutical? What? Right? And people are so crazy. But what I love about our president is that, he did things like, when I become president, I'm not going to take a salary, right? It's ridiculous. I make millions and millions of dollars on my businesses, and I'm a millionaire. He might be, I don't know, right? People are questioning that. I don't care. But I know that he's not taking a salary. And he does things, right? He does things to show that he is the real deal, right? He talks about hydroxychloroquine, and people are like, well, now we have to find out what's wrong with it. The thing was that when he said it way back when, the rush was to find out what is wrong with it and what it potentially can do. Now, you have some doctors who have come out and said, you know what? It really is not going to help people that are going to die, right? They're on the verge of dying. It's like giving them a popsicle, right? A popsicle, like, when you have your tonsils taken out and all that, that's kind of helpful. It keeps your mouth moist and all this kind of stuff. But people that are dying, that's really not going to do anything. So hydroxychloroquine is probably not something you give to somebody when they are very, very sick. But there are some positive signs, and there's signs that it does nothing at all, right? But it may cause certain heart problems with certain people. Right. And then he said, hey, I had a conversation with my doctor, right? He kind of plays it off and says it was my decision. But in the end, do you not think the doctor that's in charge of the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, I know I said that and many people, he's not my president. He's not. Okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He is the leader of the free world. Do you think the doctor in the White House, who's responsible for keeping this guy not only alive, but also making sure that he doesn't get sick? Do you really think in that discussion, if the doctor thought there was something that was going to give this patient, right? We're going to call it a patient. Your doctor, his responsibility is making sure this patient that is in this patient here, not this patient who has prior existing heart problems, right? Remember, the president doesn't drink or use drugs, right? He's never have. He's fairly healthy, even though apparently he's obese. Which is really funny. I think of all the tweets this morning. Republicans are hysterical. But when you think of this doctor's responsibility, he would not say, no, you know what, you have this underlying problem that we've seen in some of the studies that when you put this drug with a person that has this problem, that you're going to increase your probability that you're going to harm yourself or you could die, right? Do you think if the doctor had that information and his responsibility is keeping this, again, he's a poor doctor if he does, right? Or he's a Democrat, right? But if he's taken the Hippocratic Oath, right? And he's decided, and he's got, my job is to keep him alive no matter what and keep him healthy, that at some point that wouldn't come in. Are you really that stupid? But the people are so crazy, right? But again, now back to Trump, he's going, hey, can I take this? And can I show people that I'm not afraid to take it? I want to see the impact. I think that's the positive, right? Though there's the cup half full. I knew I'd come back to that point, why I went on this old rabbit trail. That you have a guy, right? A guy that we look to as our president and leader of the free world that says, I believe in this. And I think that there's a positive thing about it, that where I am at in my health, based on what I discussed with my doctor, that I'm willing to give it a shot and see how it impacts me. How can you not love somebody that is like that, right? Do you think he'd really take it if he thought he was going to die? He doesn't drink or take drugs because he doesn't want to be unhealthy. Really? For Pete's sake. Oy vey. Okay. Oh, man, sorry, Deborah, I left your comment up there. I got all focused on the camera. Morbidly obese, mind you. Yeah, morbidly obese. As revenge on me. Oh, man, I'm getting dizzy because of... two things happen when I do these things. Sometimes I speak and I don't take a breath. Oh, sorry, I'm reading that. Oh, very cool. Sorry. But two things happen. I have a ring light in front of me and my camera's in the middle of the ring light. And I have post-concussion syndrome. I have a number of vertigo. And I probably should get rid of the ring light because this is what happens. And when I focus on the camera too much, it begins to turn into a tunnel. And it begins to spin. This tunnel begins to spin. You ever drink too much and you're on your bed and your room begins to spin? That's what happens when I stare at the camera within the ring light for too long. It causes this tunnel to begin to spin and I get dizzy. And so if you see me fall out of this chair, it's because I stared at the camera for too long. All right. So hydroxychloroquine, get off, they're going to continue. They're going to say that, people are like when they claim that he said to inject dog urine. He didn't say to inject dog urine or Lysol or bleach. He didn't say any of those things. And then you had a reporter come on and say, do you know how many people have died because they took your advice and started injecting bleach? And what? Where is that? Let me do a Google search. Where was that? Right? Literally, a reporter asked that question. Why are you asking me about China? Is it because I'm Chinese, you racist bastard? No, I always say that it's China, you dimwit. You got a mask on. I couldn't tell you were Chinese. All right. For Pete's sake. All right. Don't fall off your chair. All right. Have I said enough? So again, to those of you, really think about this thing. And I hope this stayed on target. I hope this stayed. I went off on a few things here, but I always want to bring it back that the people that are making the decisions about us staying home are being paid. They're making decisions based on who they hate, not who voted them into power. They don't give them more money because they don't know how to manage money. They're mismanaging money. They'll continue to mismanage money. There's money there for you to take, and it's a loan. All right. And that's it. Don't give him more money. The money that that they've given out to that I've not seen a dime of, that we haven't even used it all yet. So why are you trying to put through a $3 trillion bill that we don't need? Right? Of course, it's not about the money. It's about the things that you put in there about illegal aliens, about mail-in voting, about all this other crap. That's what that bill's about. You're masking it in the idea that it's the hero bill that is going to save our heroes, and it's not. There's nothing in there about our heroes. The heroes are the small business owner, the entrepreneurs. Those are the heroes of the United States of America, right? In addition to cops and firemen and military. That's it. The politicians are not heroes. Right? No. Actors, singers, movie producers, they're not heroes. They're not. They're in many cases, they're pieces of crap. Right? They want you to believe in something called the Me Too movement when it fits their narrative. They're all for that, right? Believe women regardless. I was in sex crimes. Trust me, you cannot always believe women when they're saying that they've been raped. There's many rape and victims that I felt sorry for, that I cried for, that I worked my ass off to put the guy who did it to them in jail. If somebody raped or harmed one of my children, I would kill them and I would be in jail. There's no doubt in my mind. If one of my kids get molested by somebody, I would kill them. And I'm telling you right now. So go ahead and call the cops on me and tell me, oh, you say he's going to kill somebody. If they harm my children, if they molest my children, there's a good chance that I would do that. So don't tell me that I'm a misogynist. Is that the right thing? Or a sexist, because you can't believe all women. I'm telling you. You can't believe all men. You can't believe all men, women. You can't believe all men. You can believe nobody, right? The one thing you learn as a cop is both the victims, the suspects, or not both, there's three, right? The victims, the suspects, and the witnesses often lie, if not always lie. I can't say I hate blanket statements of always, but victims lie, suspects lie, and witnesses lie. It is our job as law enforcement and investigators to find out the truth and then get into court and prove the facts as we know them, right? And so the hypocrisy of the stupidity of actresses and actors and singers and all these other dimwits who get on and say, me too, hashtag me. Okay, if you're a victim, that guy needs to go to jail, and he needs to go to jail in a bad way, and he needs to be castrated. Yes, but you can't now, when it doesn't suit your agenda, to say, well, I'm going to support this guy. And not only that, I want to be his vice president. Wait a minute. Just a year ago, you were saying that all men who are accused, regardless if it's true or not, need to be hung by their balls, right? A year ago, that's what you were saying. But today you're saying, well, this guy, even though you can see that he's creepy, right? You've seen that's why he's called Creepy Joe, right? You see that he's creepy, but this guy, he gets a pass. And even though that his supposed victim, has more evidence to prove that she's actually probably telling some truth, if not the whole truth, so help me God. But I want to be his vice president, and I'm going to support him, and I'm going to give him money, and I'm going to do all I can to make sure that he defeats Donald Trump, regardless that he has nothing to offer once he becomes president. Literally nothing to offer other than opening borders and taxing us more and keeping our country closed. Other than that, he has nothing to offer. The only thing that we want him to do is beat Donald Trump. But it doesn't matter that he has nothing to offer and he has an accuser that has more evidence than they had with the other accusers, which had zero evidence. And then later on, many of them said they were lying to begin with. What? All right. So the only heroes, back to my point, the only heroes are, like I said, entrepreneurs, small business owners, legitimate, not the crooks. Those are the people that are going to save this economy. Those are the ones that are hurting the most, and those are the ones that aren't getting their PPPs. They're the ones that are not allowed to go and open up their business. The gym owners, right? The small mom and pop stores. Leave Walmart open, Costco open, but don't let Miss Jones and her husband run their frickin' store because they're not big enough. Right? Because they're entrepreneurs, because they are small business owners. Allow them to die and never be able to earn another dime with the business that you are not allowing them to open up. Right? Because you, my friend, are busy making money, eating ice cream and sitting in your house, multi-million-dollar house, earning money from the people that voted for you. And yet those people are not allowed to go do their work. All right, that was my last point. I will leave it alone after that. I've gone for an hour on my rants. People call my shows your rant. Fudge. Stupid mother. Oh, God dang it. Gosh darn it. I almost used God's name in vain. All right. Let's see here. I saw tweets from women, people saying they will vote for Biden regardless. Yeah, I've seen it too. It is really the dumbest thing I've ever seen. He has nothing to offer. He's not come up with a plan. He's critical, right? He can criticize. He criticizes, right? They all have criticism, right? Well, he said this, and now we know. Well, yeah, we all thought that then, and now we all know this now, right? That happens, right? It happens. But they've not changed their tune, right? All right. It was crazy. Oh my God. All right. I can go on. I might. I'm probably going to stop the stream and then just start yelling at my camera. And even though we're not live. So tell us again the real reason we are under. I told you. We're closed. My opinion is we're closed. We're not allowed to go back to work. We're not allowed to open up our businesses. We're not allowed to continue to make this economy better because when it does open up, the economy is begin to soar. What's going to happen is everybody's going to go back to work. Everybody's going to start buying stuff. Everybody's going to start using airlines again. Everybody's going to start using hotels again. Everybody's going to start going to places like Las Vegas and not New York. Hopefully that's shut down. Not shut down. They're going to go to a bunch of other places, right? And what's going to happen is our economy is going to begin to shoot up. Right, and it's going to begin to return to normal, even regard the new normal. It's going to new normal. No, it's going to return because people aren't going to do this forever. You're shitting me. You're shitting yourself if you think that we're going to walk around in bubbles for the rest of our lives. No. What's going to happen is that it's going to last for a little while, and then it's I forgot my mask. I forgot my gloves. Oh, sanitize. I don't know what I did. Right. This is what's going to happen. The economy is going to begin to soar. There's no way that they're going to keep this shut down until November because of the person they hate, the people that they hate, the group of people of deplorables. And where's my lower third go? And my the lemmings, right? The lemmings that exist. They hate the lemmings. They hate the deplorables. They hate the guy in the White House. Their hatred is what is closing this country and not allowing it to open. It has nothing to do, because if you look at everything that I showed you, and I'm just a dude in Brea, California, all right, who has access to Google and has the ability to go, it makes no sense. I agreed with the first 14 days, but now it's over, right? Not 3 months, not 14 months, not a year, not 2 years, right? There's not going to be possibly a cure. The vaccines, a lot of people aren't going to take the vaccines. I hate to tell you this, because I know based on other discussions I've had with people about vaccines, the vaccine, because we come up with a vaccine, it does not mean anything, right? It doesn't mean anything in regard to opening up our country, because there's going to be less than half the people in the world take the vaccines for the flu now as it is, right? Do you know that? Right. And so the fact that we come up with vaccine, that is not another determining factor for opening up this country. A cure is not a determining factor whether to open up this country. The flattening the curve was not the determining thing, although they said it was. More testing was one of the factors, right? But now we have more testing and we're still not opened up. So it's going to keep on moving. And that is the telling story, that it's not about any of those things. It's about who they hate, the people that they hate, the person that they hate. That's why we're closed. So I hope I answered your question, April. All right. That's it. Thank you all. I mean, there were so many comments. I don't know that I've ever seen so many comments, but I appreciate that you commented. I'm going to try to go back and read them all. I'm sorry that I could not bring them all up. I know that because some people like to see their face and their name brought up. But this is Andy Falco for the Andy Falco Show, coming to you live from Brea, California. I hope that, I just got you to think. I don't need you to agree with me. I don't necessarily, that's not what fuels me. It's just that I want you to think and really look at and make some decisions. One of my goals, right, is that maybe some of you may think and go, oh, you know what, you might have a couple points there here in California, because we can't continue to live like we're living in California with the people that are in charge, that are running the state. We can't. It'll never work. It will never work for the voter that is an entrepreneur, that loves their freedoms, that love the state. I do love the state, even though I want to move so badly, but it's because of who's running it, not because and how it's being run, not because I hate the state. I love that I can go to the beach 1 minute and staying out the beach, and I can go to the mountains and ski all in the same day. There are days that you can do that here. I love that. I love all the things that we can do, the plays that I can go to, the areas that I can go to. San Diego is a beautiful place, right? There's certain things in Los Angeles, like the LA Kings, the Staples Center. I love going there to watch the Kings play. All that stuff is fantastic. I hate to move. I love the state, but I hate who's running it, and I hate what's happening to the state, and I feel like I have to get out. That is the problem. All right. So if I give you some information that will allow you to join me in bringing back our state, as long as I have to live here, I would have moved already, except for I'm in a divorce and I can't, and we have kids together, and she's not willing to move to where I want to move, and that's that's the only reason that's keeping me here. I would have moved a long time ago. All right, and so, I truly am not believing that this show necessarily is meant to necessarily change your mind, as it is to give you some things to think about. And then after that thought process, if you want to change over or do something else, then there you go. That's what I'm hoping to do. All right, that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Sorry that I've upset some of you, but that's the way it goes. I love you guys. Take care. Bye.